ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः. I was born in the darkest ignorance, and my spiritual master opened my eyes with the torch of knowledge. I offer my respectful obeisances unto him. Nama Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Presthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swaminiti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshitarine Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaura Bhaktavrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare Hare Vanchakalpatarubhasya Kripa Sindhubhya Cha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Okay, so we are in chapter 2. The topic is getting out of the material mire. Getting out the material mire. So, we were reading that how much, these great elevated Vaishnavas like Parikshit Maharaj, Prahlad Maharaj, how much they are willing that, that the conditioned living entities should get out of the suffering of material world. And Parikshit Maharaj is posing a question to Shukadev Goswami, because Shukadev Goswami explained to him about all the hells that a person might go if he performs the sinful activities. And sinful activities activities anything that one just does for his own like self enjoyment. It's there is no relationship with Krishna or the Supreme Lord, right? Because everything is given by Supreme Lord, and if one selfishly uses it for his own purposes, for his own enjoyment, and he's just exploiting the nature, like many countries do, right? They take the oil and whatnot from the nature, but they don't acknowledge presence of a Supreme Lord, right? Or do not have a God conscious environment in the world. And that is why so many people are suffering, right? So all these Vaishnavas are like, they are paradukhi, paradukhe dukhi, means they get very pained because of the seeing the sufferings of the living entities. So yeah, all those things we have covered. And meanwhile, Prabhupada has given like many other analogies and different things about this principle of Vaishnava compassion. Yeah, so now we will continue from our this page 27. Modern civilization is in dire need of an educational system to give people instructions on what happens after death. In actuality, the present educational system is most effective because unless one knows what happens after death, one dies like an animal. An animal does not know that he is subject to death or that he is going to have to take another body. Human life, however, should be more elevated. One should not simply be interested in animalistic function of eating, sleeping, defending, and mating. A living entity may have an abundant supply of food for eating or many nice buildings for sleeping. Just 1 second, I'll quickly check if I have posted last time.
Sure, Mataji.
Yeah, where did we end? Not really, but that's fine. We can read this. A civilization which is based on these activities should be known to be animalistic. Since animals are also interested in these functions, what is the difference between human life and animal life if a human being does not go beyond them? The distinction can be made when a human being becomes inquisitive and asks, why have I been put into this miserable condition? Is there any remedy for it? Is there perpetual eternal life? I do not want to die, nor do I want to suffer. I want to live very happily and peacefully. Is there a chance for this? What is the method or science by which this can be achieved? When these questions are asked and steps are taken to answer them, our human civilization is the result. If the questions never arise, then that civilization should be known as animalistic. So Prabhupada is saying, unless one asks these questions, he is basically living into animalistic civilization. So if one is intelligent, this question should come naturally. Animals and animalistic human beings are simply interested in continuing the process of eating, sleeping, mating, and defending. But in actuality, this process is forced to break down. The fact is that there is no real defense because no one can protect himself from the hands of cruel death. For instance, Hiranyakashipu, who wanted to live forever, underwent severe austerities, but he was foiled in the end by the Lord himself in the form of a lion man, Narsimhadev, who killed Hiranyakashipu with his claws. So-called scientists are now claiming that sometime in the future we shall stop death by scientific methods. But this is simply another crazy utterance. Stopping death is not at all possible. We may make great advancement in scientific knowledge, but there is no scientific solution to the fourfold miseries of birth, death, old age, and disease. One who is intelligent should be eager to solve these four principal problems: birth, death, old age, and disease. No one wants to die, but there is no remedy. Everyone has to die. Everyone is very anxious to stop the skyrocketing increase of population by employing contraceptive methods. But still, birth is going on. There is no longer stoppage of death, and there is no stoppage of birth. Nor can diseases be stopped, nor can old age, despite all of the latest inventions in the medicine. One might think that he has solved all the problems of his life. But where is the solution to these four problems of birth, death, old age, and disease? That solution is Krishna consciousness. Every one of us is giving up this his body at every moment, and at the last phase of giving up this body is called death. Means he means that every moment the cells are dying and new cells are growing, and you know one shades of cells also. So it is like we are diminishing, but ultimately when we give up the body, that is death. But Krishna also says, janma karma cha me divyam evam yo vetti tatvatah tyaktva deham punarjanma neti mameti so Arjuna. One who knows the transcendental nature of my appearance and activities does not, upon leaving the body, take his birth again in this material world, but attains my eternal abode, O Arjuna. Bhagavad Gita 4.9. What happens to such a person? Mameti, he returns to Krishna. If we are to go to Krishna, we must prepare a spiritual body. That preparation is the process of Krishna consciousness. So Prabhupada gives one example also in this regard, like some creatures can live in the fire also, like some creatures live on the planet, creatures or living entities. So they have fire-like body, that's why they can stay there. So similarly, if we want to go to the spiritual world, we have to have a spiritual body. Otherwise, we are not fit for that planet also, like if talking physically, but actually we need to have a spiritual body. And that process of having a spiritual body is called as Krishna consciousness. So he gradually prepares his next body, a spiritual body, which will carry him immediate to Krishna Loka, Krishna's abode, and he will become happy, living there perpetually and blissfully. Right? So the title of this chapter was Getting Out the Material Mire, and the answer is here. That when we become completely Krishna conscious, our body becomes spiritualized, and then we can go to the Krishna Loka and live there perpetually, never to return back. And that is the world of bliss and transcendence, where there is no scarcity of anything. So when one knows the divine quality of activities and birth of Krishna, then he doesn't need to take birth again in this world. And when does one know the divine activities and qualities and birth of Krishna? when one becomes Krishna conscious. Actually, he is practicing Krishna consciousness sincerely. So, third chapter we are starting, learning to love. Contamination from sinful activity requires proportionate atonement. That is the prescription of scripture. Shukadev Goswami says that if so, that dialogue is still continuing when Parikshit Maharaj had asked him that what is the remedy for the people to not go to hellish planets. So now this is continuing. Shukadev Goswami says that if one accepts atonement before death in his next life, he will not fall down. If he does not atone, he will carry with him the resultant reactions of his sinful activities and will have to suffer. According to law, if a man kills someone, he must kill himself be killed. The idea of a life for a life is not a very new concept, but can be found in Manu Samhita, the Vedic law book for mankind, where it is stated that when a king hangs the murderer is actually benefited. For if he is not killed, he will carry the reaction for his murder and will have to suffer in so many ways. So, atonement is sort of cutting off the sinful reactions for whatever sin has been performed. So, like Prabhupada is giving example from Manu Samhita that a murderer is hanged as a consequence for his action, so that he can in the next birth he can take a good lead a good life. Otherwise this sin will appear in his next birth as a sinful reaction, and then he will have to face the consequences. So better to atone in this same life so that they can have a better next life. The law of nature are very subtle and are very diligently administered, although people do not know it. In the Manu Samhita, the concept of a life for a life is sanctioned and it is actually observed throughout the world. Similarly, there are other laws which state that one cannot even kill an ant without being responsible. Since we cannot create, we have no right to kill any living entity. And therefore, man made laws that distinguish between killing a man and killing an animal are imperfect. Right? So, this is such a very solid argument Prabhupada is giving, that since we cannot create a life, how can we take a life? So what is our right to take any life, right? But what king is punishing a murderer that he is doing dutifully? There is no selfish interest there, but it is rather interest of benefiting the murderer, right? But for just for some fun purpose, like I have seen like some children, they don't hesitate to even quickly jump on a small crawling insect or something. I have seen with my eyes that one time I was I was waiting for the school bus for my child, and another child was playing there and he saw an earthworm there, and he was about to jump on that earthworm, and I had to stop him, saying that don't do this, this has life. Although the child was small, so it was hard to understand, but parents have such a great responsibility of making their child's life auspicious, because by doing all such things they are creating inauspiciousness in their life ultimately. So therefore parents is a great responsibility. Moment to moment they should have vigilance on the action of their child until he is like within that age where he still listens and he still obeys the parents, like up to maybe 7 years or something. Otherwise then later on they have sinful reactions for all these things. Therefore in the childhood itself they should learn these principles very thoroughly, truthfulness, mercy, compassion, all these principles. So although there are imperfection in man-made laws, there cannot be defects in the laws of God. According to the laws of God, killing an animal is as punishable as killing a man. Those who draw distinctions between the two are concocting their own laws. Even in the 10 commandments, it is prescribed, thou shalt not kill. This is a perfect law, but by discriminating and speculating, men distort it. I shall not kill man, but I shall kill animals. In this way, people cheat themselves and inflict suffering on themselves and others. In any case, however, God's laws will not excuse such behavior. Everyone is God's creature. They, although in different bodies or dresses, God is considered the one supreme father. A father may have many children, And some may be intelligent and others not very intelligent. But if an intelligent son tells his father, my brother is not very intelligent, let me kill him, will the father agree? Simply because one son is not very intelligent and the other desires to kill him to avoid the burden, the father will never agree. Similarly, if God is the supreme father, why should he sanction the killing of animals who are also his sons? In Bhagavad Gita, God declares to Arjuna that all 8,400,000 species of living entities are his sons, and I am their seed giving father. The one second, Mataji.
Sure, Mataji.
Just as in ordinary material procreation, the father gives the seed and mother develops the body by supplying the necessary blood to the embryo. Similarly, the living entities, parts and parcels of the supreme father, are impregnated by the Lord in material nature. The dimension of the spirit soul is very minute and is given in scriptures as keshagra, 1/10,000 of the portion of the tip of a hair. We can hardly imagine a very small point divided into thousands of parts. In other words, it is so minute that it cannot be perceived even by the most powerful microscope. Thus, the dimension of the spiritual spark is so minute that it is invisible to mundane vision. All of this information is given in the scriptures. So this verse is also in second chapter of Bhagavad Gita. But because we do not have the proper vision, we cannot see. Although our material eyes cannot perceive the dimension of the soul is nonetheless within the body, and as soon as it departs, it takes another body according to its work. Mataji, do you want to read? I mean, have you
Sure, Mataji. Yes, I can
yeah.
read.
Okay, so from here, one should always.
One should always consider that behind all these activities is superior superintendence. The living entity works in the material world just as the office worker works at his job, and a service record is kept of his performance. The living entity does not know what the opinion of his superior is, but his service record is kept in the office nonetheless, and according to his activities, he is rewarded promotion or increment of pay, or sometimes he may be demoted or even fired. Similarly, for all our activities, there are witnesses. Therefore, it is said in the scriptures that the living entities are under superior supervision and that they are rewarded and punished according to their work. Now we have human bodies, but in the next life we may not have them. We may have something else, better or lower. The type of body is decided by the living entity's superiors. Generally, the living entity does not know the science of how the spirit soul transmigrates from one body to another. The spirit soul transmigrates even in the duration of one life as the body changes. When the body is first manifest in the womb of the mother, it is very small, just like a pea, and it gradually develops 9 holes, 2 eyes, 2 ears, 2 nostrils, 1 mouth, 1 genital, and 1 rectum. In this way, the body develops, and as long as it needs to develop within the mother's womb, it remains there. When it is sufficiently developed to go outside, it comes out and grows. Growth entails changing of the body. This change cannot be understood because it is imperceivable to the living entity. In childhood, we had small bodies, which now no longer exist. Therefore, it can be said that we have changed our bodies. Similarly, because of the nature of material things, we have to change this body when it ceases to work. Every material thing deteriorates, and like a broken machine or an old piece of cloth, the body becomes useless after a certain length of time. Although this process of growth is always taking place, the educational system in modern universities, though. Sorry, Mataji.
No, no.
Okay.
Yeah, consider. Yeah.
Consi- uh, yes, considered advanced, unfortunately, does not deal with this. Actually, there is no education without spiritual knowledge. One can learn to earn bread, eat, sleep, and mate without a formal education. Animals are not educated, they are not technicians, and they have no university degrees, but they are also eating, sleeping, mating, and defending. If the educational system simply teaches these processes, it does not deserve the name of education. Real education enables us to understand what we are. As long as man does not develop his consciousness by understanding the truth of the self, all of his actions will be performed in the mode of ignorance. A human life is meant for victory over the laws of material nature. Actually, we are all trying to attain that victory in order to counteract the onslaught of material nature. The ultimate victory is to conquer birth, death, disease, and old age, but we have neglected this important point. If the educational system dealt with the proper utilization of what God is supplying, it would improve. All the fruits and grains we eat are given by God, who supplies food to all living entities. In Srimad Bhagavatam, it is stated, Jivo Jivasya Jivanam. One living entity is food for another. Bhag- Bhagavatam 1, first canto, 13th chapter, 47th verse. Animals without hands are food for animals with hands, such as ourselves. Animals with no legs are food for animals with four legs. Grass is a living entity, but it has no legs with which to move, and thus is eaten by cows and other animals. Such non moving entities are food for moving animals, and in this way, the world is a constant struggle between exploiters and exploited. The weaker is exploited by the stronger. This is nature's law. Traditionally, Vaishnavas or devotees of Krishna do not eat meat. This is not just for the sake of vegetarianism, but for the furtherance of God consciousness. In order to become God conscious, one must follow some rules and regulations. Of course, one has to eat, but the proposal is that one should eat remnants of foodstuffs that are offered to Krishna. There is also the philosophy of Bhagavad Gita, wherein Krishna says, Patram pushpam phalam toyam ye me bhaktaya prayaschati tad aham bhaktya upahartam asnami prayat
Prayata,
prayatat prayatatmana
prayatatmanaha. Very nice.
prayatatmanaha. If one offers me with love and devotion a leaf, a fruit, flower, fruit, or water, I will accept it. Bhagavad Gita 9:26. It is not that Krishna is hungry and is begging for food from us. The purpose of this offering is to create a loving transaction. Krishna wants this transaction. You love me and I love you. As God, Krishna's energy creates and sustains everything. So why should he beg a leaf, fruit, or a little water from us? He will be very pleased, however, if we offer him a piece of fruit, a leaf, and water with love, saying, Krishna, I am so poor that I cannot secure anything. I have secured this fruit and a leaf. Kindly accept them. Such an offering would make Krishna very glad. If he eats what we offer, our life will be successful, for we will actually make friends with Krishna. Fruit, flowers, and water can be secured practically in any part of the world by any man, poor or rich, and can be offered. We should remember then that it is not vegetarianism which is important, nor is it that God is in need of anything. The important point is that we simply have to try to learn how to love Krishna. Love begins with this give and take. We give something to our lover, he gives something to us, and in this way, love develops. When we create any loving transaction with any boy or girl, man or woman, we give and take. Thus, Krishna is teaching us how to give and take. Krishna is begging us, try to love me, learn how to love me, offer something to me. Sir, we may say, I have nothing to give you. Oh, you cannot collect a piece of fruit, a flower, a leaf, or a little water? Oh, yes, why not? Anyone can collect this. This, then, is the method of Krishna consciousness, which allows one to make friends with Krishna. We can enter into any number of relationships with Krishna. We can be a direct servant of Krishna, or in the highest stages, we can become Krishna's father, mother, or lover. Krishna is prepared to establish a loving relationship with all the living entities. In actuality, this relationship is already there because He is the Supreme Father and we are His parts and parcels. Because the son is part of the body of the father, the relationship between them cannot be broken. It may be forgotten for some time, but as soon as one recognizes his father or son, immediately affection develops. Similarly, we are eternally related to Krishna, but at the present moment in this relationship is simply forgotten or suppressed. Consequently, we think that we have no relationship with Krishna. But this is not a fact. Because we are integral with Him, because we are part and parcel of Him, our relationship with Him is eternal. That relationship simply has to be revived, and that revival is the process of Krishna consciousness. At present, we are under the sway of a different consciousness. One person is thinking that he is Indian, other is thinking that he is American, and someone else is thinking I am this or I am that. In this way, we create so many artificial identities, but our actual identity should be I am Krishna's. When we think in this way, we are thinking in Krishna consciousness. Only in this way can universal love among all living entities be established. Krishna is related to everyone as eternal Father, and consequently, when we establish a Krishna conscious relationship, we become related to everyone. When one marries, he automatically establishes a relationship with the spouse family. Similarly, if we re establish our original relationship with Krishna, we will establish our true relationship with everyone else. That is the ground for real universal love. Universal love is artificial and cannot endure unless we establish our relationship with the center. One is American if he is born in America, and thus Americans become members of his family. But if he is born elsewhere, he has no relationship with Americans. On the mundane platform, all relationships are relative. Our relationship with Krishna, however, is eternal and not subject to time and circumstance. When we re establish our relationship with Krishna, the questions of universal brotherhood, justice, peace, and prosperity will be answered. There is no possibility of realizing these higher ideals without Krishna. If the central point is missing, how can there be brotherhood and peace? Shall I continue, Mataji?
1 second.
It's
Yeah,
six.
this is also a good long chapter. So yeah,
Okay.
we can conclude here. So
Sure, Mataji.
page number 38, because it is going to be a new paragraph. So
New paragraph.
yeah,
Yes.
yeah. So yeah, mainly I felt that Srila Prabhupada is emphasizing that how people try to control the weaker
Hmm.
species, because they have some features lesser than the human beings. And Krishna, being the father of all living entities, he will not tolerate that one child is saying that because the other child is weaker, I will kill him,
Kill
right?
them.
And also he is speaking about like how simple it is to please Krishna in bhakti. Just simply offer fruit, flower, water, or
Leaf.
some leaf even. Krishna
Yeah.
accepts it, right?
Yes.
So you have any reflection from your reading?
Just that it is so simple to do. It's just
Yeah.
that it's like we just complicate it instead of like,
Mhm.
adding more things like do this, do like that, you like
Yeah.
sit like this and do like that. Only
Yeah.
then Krishna will be pleased. But it is
Right.
as simple as just remembering Krishna and like offering him
Yeah.
when we can, whatever we are having.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
that is sufficient. I mean, he's not looking for some great like diamonds and great things.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
just that love and remembrance.
Yes, yes. And also, very, very emphatically, Prabhupada is saying that question. I mean, this problem of birth, death, old age, and disease, nobody thinks about these problems.
Yes.
They are just after solving the temporary problems of life
And everybody thinks we are going to be here forever, so let's
forever.
make it more comfortable.
Exactly. And also, he slashed the school system that they are teaching only how to earn bread and
How to
money.
earn money, and
Yeah.
yeah, that's what it's like. How to become more powerful, more
Yes.
money. That is all is
Yeah,
equated.
and even this perspective is wrong that if somebody
Yeah.
has money, they become powerful, because
Powerful.
any disease can grab them anytime and they will become so weak, right? So
Yeah,
this
anything
is
can
also
happen
wrong.
anytime. So it's like
Yeah, these
just
are
money.
all wrong materialistic conceptions actually, which Prabhupada is, slashing, thrashing like anything.
Yeah.
But
It's
really, I mean, his writing is so simple, yet so
Mm.
profound and powerful.
Yes.
Yeah, yeah. Reading is very simple, I mean, but we realize so many good concepts and so many
So many
reflections.
things,
Yeah,
reflections, right? Like
yes,
it's just that one line which is like, oh
exactly.
yeah, this is all is needed.
Yeah, yeah. And this speaking of universal brotherhood, so like we are seeing that this war in Ukraine is going on for almost 1.5 to 2 years, and the United Nations had not been able to do anything as such. So
Yeah.
that's the proof, recent proof. I mean, there had been many proofs earlier in the
Proofs,
history.
yeah.
Yeah, but unless everybody thinks that I am Krishna's, these
Hmm.
differences are not gonna end ever.
Yeah, it's like unless we think we are all like the same and like
Yeah, yeah.
think like to,
And our goal is one, to please the
yes,
God, right?
God.
Maybe some
Yes.
people believe in I mean, they believe God's name is
Different.
Allah. They Some believe that it is Jehovah. Some believe it is Krishna. But God is one, right? So
Yes.
we all need to come under one umbrella and try to please the God. So then everybody's dharma will become the same,
True.
and differences will all shut down
Yeah,
slowly.
because you start thinking like we all belong to
Yes, same
same
God.
thing, and like everybody is teaching the same thing to be loving with others. So
Yes, and
you
that
don't
will
have
actually bring the universal brotherhood, which is,
brotherhood.
yeah, which is actually right now not being established right now
True.
because of the materialistic concepts of differences among each other. So yeah, nice reading, Mataji. Thank you so much
Thank you, Mataji.
for
Nice reading.
coming,
Yes, thank you,
sharing your
Mataji.
time.
We'll
Yeah, I'll
start
see
again
you
next week.
hopefully. Yeah, next week.
Yes, Mataji.
Yeah.
Next week.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mataji. Hare
Hare
Krishna.
Krishna.